Hey artists! Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be learning how to paint these beautiful sapphire toned blue macaw feathers. Look at that color. It still blows me away that we can have something so radiant in nature. They're just like total gems. Let's jump in. Now, if you're craving more help and want the full real-time tutorial complete with my voice walking you through every single moment, paint mixing recipes, reference photos, and more, I think you will love the Wildlife Painting Academy. New tutorials are added each month, and it truly is your secret weapon for learning how to paint realistic wildlife easily. You can check it out in the description of this video. So I started off here by having a very rudimentary sketch. I just basically wanted to map out where the edges of those feathers were gonna go so that I had something to work with. I'm painting on a sheet of canvas here that I've just taped to a hard board that, gives it a bit of structure so it's not flopping around, but you can paint on whatever surface you would like. I'm also painting with oils here, but you can definitely get the same effect with acrylics. I did for years. Highly recommend using a slow drying medium. And if you want more information about how you can get the same technique with acrylics, grab the link down in the description of this video. I wrote a whole guide all about it. So I always start off with my darkest color, kind of blocking in where those darkest parts are gonna go. And then I tend to work from there. So I usually start with the darkest, then move lightest. So as you can see here, I'm now going in and putting in those beautiful dark shadows with a super dark blue. I am obsessed with this color. I really should use it more in my artwork. It is just so beautiful. I'm using Prussian blue here, but phthalo blue is another great option. Another thing is I'm working with the largest brush possible. This painting here is pretty small, but I'm still making sure that I'm working with the largest brush possible to make sure that I'm not getting caught up in the details too early and ultimately to make my painting go faster. So now I'm starting to move through the different tones of my painting here. I've added some titanium white to this blue, and you can see how it definitely made it a lot lighter. So I'm basically filling in the rest of those feathers. Now the feathers here are interesting because you treat them actually a lot like you would scales, say on like a reptile or a fish. They're very layered and they actually have a very similar structure to scales. So having that kind of mindset about it will actually make this painting a lot easier. So now I'm going in and I'm actually starting to build up some detail. Kind of have all my major tones blocked in with my underpainting. And now I'm going in with a filbert brush that's got a nice sharp edge to it. And I'm gonna start to actually build up those lines that you're gonna see making up those feathers. So I'm taking my time here, building up some of that detail. added a little bit more white to my paint to make it even brighter, and I'm still going through and adding some of that detail. Because I'm working with oils here, I am actually working wet into wet, which is why you're not seeing such crazy sharp details at this phase. But that's all part of why I love working with oils, is because you get to build that up over time, and it just makes it look so much more beautiful and natural. So I put my painting aside for a few days so it can dry completely, and now I'm actually going in and doing a full detail pass. Here I'm using a small round brush, and basically I'm just going in and adding all those tiny little lines that you're going to see building up those feathers. And finally, I'm going back in with some white on that same tiny little brush, and I'm adding a couple brighter highlights here just to make everything pop. So now's the fun part. I put my painting aside for a few days so it was completely dry, and now I'm jumping in with a glaze. I really wanted to amp up that sort of sapphire blue look here, so I'm going in and applying a really beautiful transparent blue glaze to my entire painting, except for that little bit of yellow on top. And then I'm going to go in and actually reinforce some of those shadows, making them darker and more dramatic. And finally, into my wet glaze layer here, this is where I'm going to work in my final highlights. Going in with that same tiny little brush and just adding those little pops of light wherever I think they need to be. And we're done! So this tutorial was one of the most recent masterclasses that can be found inside the Wildlife Painting Academy. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, go check it out in the link in the description of this video. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. If there are any topics that you want to see me cover, any tutorials you want, leave me a comment and hit that big, beautiful subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.